because you shared a few TikToks around, and so you obviously use it sort of on a personal basis, and you check things out and stuff like that. It seems to be that's your behavior, same as mine, to be honest. So
I don't go on it. I never go on it and look for things that I want to watch. I never browse it. I regularly I'm searching for stuff on Google and it takes me to TikTok, or my wife shares things with me that are on TikTok.
Yeah, and your wife brings you into it, basically.
Yeah, I don't.
Interesting.
I mean, I've got an account. I've never obviously posted anything. I don't follow anybody. But yeah, I enjoy it. I don't browse for things.
You can't browse. You can't browse for things. As far as I'm aware, actually you can search it. I think Gen Z is starting to search it for how-to videos and stuff like this. But generally speaking, it's just infinite scroll and just flick through it. So anyway, we'll be talking about this all day today because it is episode 188. At Brainfood Live on Air, bringing it to you every Friday, no fail, and it's never going to fail. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're going to keep on trucking with this fantastic conversation series. As ever, folks, we want to just check on a few things, make sure sort of audio and visual is okay. My audio sounds weird, so I'm not sure whether that is actually the case. But if you can hear me okay on Crowdcast, do let me know. Just put the... let me know in the comments below there whether you can hear and see both Adam and I on screen. And we did screw up. I'm afraid to say I screwed up last week on the LinkedIn Live. It went out on my personal sort of page and not on the event. So a lot of people signed up for the event and didn't actually see it. So apologies if that was you. But if you can watch this on LinkedIn, let me know whether I'm live and the event is fired. There's 500 people signed up on the events page. So I hope people can see it on the events page. Okay, people seem to be seeing it okay, and that's fine. I think we're all blasting it off on sort of Twitter and Facebook as well, but not on TikTok because it doesn't allow us to do that. I think it's too smart to allow this multicasting behavior. Anyway, let us first of all thank our sponsors today. We cannot run this show without the support of these awesome companies. Every week they step up and say, you know what, we want a part of this. We want to get involved in speaking to the Brainfood community. So today I'm delighted to say our sponsors are Adway, Adway.ai. If you haven't checked out Adway, you really should. They are a social media recruitment advertising software product. They're an amazing kind of programmatic advertising in social media. That's probably the best way to describe what they do. So if you're trying to kind of address a particular audience and you want to get away from just posting stuff on LinkedIn or a standard job board, you want to address audiences that may be on TikTok, Instagram, or what have you, then Adway are the product that's going to help you put it in front of the right people. No need for you to figure out exactly, where to place it, how to build an account, etc., etc. They understand how to deliver that advert to the right audience. So I think super interesting product coming out of Sweden, where we're seeing lots of interesting recruiting tech. So, and we've got Sara, who's part of Adway. She's coming on and talk to us about how to do it on TikTok later. So that's going to be a great one to join. So Adway.ai, do check it out. Okay, we have Adam on the show again. Good to see you, mate. How are things? Hope you're well.
Yeah, all's good. Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
As always, man, you're the default. When we run out of options, can't find upgrades, it's Adam Gordon. That's how it is.
I'm the backstop.
Totally, mate. Totally. The barrel that's been scraped.
The weekly super sub.
That's it. It's like desperately trying to upgrade, but you haven't been upgraded for a while, so that's all right. But anyway, did you read the newsletter last week, mate? And if so, give us a couple of things that was interesting about it.
Yeah. Okay. I did read the newsletter, and the first thing I want to talk about is, I want to ask you what's news about it. So Baidu have announced that the number of effectively virtual assistant projects going through roughly the middle of the pandemic, 2021. And you can have like a virtual person for $14,000 a year, but I guess that's about 13,000 euros, about 11,000 pounds, something like that a year, who will basically do everything you want. It's not a named individual necessarily. And I wonder why. I don't just wonder why it's in the newsletter. I wonder why it's on the like big news, because this kind of geo arbitrage is normal, but it's something that I don't think companies take, and especially small companies like individuals take enough advantage of. But I actually know that you have done some of this outsourcing stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not outsourcing, but it's digital virtual outsourcing. So we use the term virtual a little bit like loosely to describe what this is. But what people are actually paying for when they go into this service isn't just a person that is doing the job. It's a person in a haptic suit who then becomes a digital avatar on screen for you. You get me?
Yeah, I hadn't quite grasped that bit.
So imagine I want a digital avatar that it looks like a cartoon, effectively like a cartoon, but it needs to have a human being in a suit making the motions, doing the live action interactions and stuff like that. As a customer service rep, as someone who's like doing broadcasts, or let's say it's a social media person for you, etc. They will do that, but they will actually be. You won't see the real human face, but you'll see an avatar you design. You can say, I want someone with a beard. I want him to be this, that, and the other. He's going to sound like this. You can do voice modulation, but there needs to be a human being actually operating the guy at the back end and doing the visual motion and stuff like this. So you want to check out a girl called Coda Miko. I think it's Coda Miko or something. But she's doing this on her own. She's a software developer, lost a job in COVID first sort of wave. And she basically bought a haptic suit for 30 grand and started Twitch streaming as the avatar. So in other words, you don't see her like the biological human being on your screen. You will see this cartoon character behaving as if they're a human being. And she's got a massive following now, like a mega superstar on Twitch. She's obviously made tons of money doing it. But she spotted that opportunity as an individual. So what Baidu are doing is simply saying, hey, this is a service. Any company come on and buy this service and get your individuated digital avatar. But in the end, it's still a human being, doing those actions and saying those words. It's definitely an innovation, and I think it's going to take off.
Okay, I wonder how far it's going to take off, because I heard a really great interview with her name's gone out of my head, but she was on the Chad and Cheese podcast a couple of weeks ago, or about a week ago, and her company is based in New York City, and you go into the studio, you talk to camera, it gets a couple of like screen grabs of like your image, your facial expressions, your voice, and with that 20 minutes worth of work, it can effectively create a customer service avatar, sales avatar, customer success avatar, whatever it is, which is not based on any human in a haptic suit.
A digital twin, I think that type of technology is called.
That's it.
Yes. And I definitely want to explore it, although I think we're not quite there yet in terms of how well it executes. I've had these different types of feedback on it, but it is definitely a part of the same category of product where you're saying you get basically creating a digital human being to do the work. And it either is a human being in a suit, or it is an entirely programmed sort of solution that allows you to basically scale out who it is you are. So we're going to get to a point where it can kind of track your personality, how you would typically respond in circumstance A, B, C, or D. And you could program it to do that. Or you could at least give it the sort of training parameters to learn how to do that. And if you can do it that way, then it might just like you can leave it on its own to develop. You have to coach it. You have to train the digital program in order to develop it. It's crazy how that will work, but we're not too far away from all of this. The companies are using it now, so it's in production. It's obviously a bit ugly and it's a bit not quite there. But usually when you look at how technology gets adopted, you get radical experimentation for 12, 18 months that no one's really paying true attention to it. Then you get a breakthrough through UX that just changes the experience, and boom, suddenly everyone's on it. So very exciting sort of situation what that means for recruiting, who the heck knows? Crazy.
Have you seen that monster dancing competition?
I have not. You're cooler than I am, so I haven't. I'm afraid to say.
All right. Okay. It's just. I think that's a haptic suit as well.
Yeah, probably is.
I think that's what it is. Ashley Banjo's a judge on it. It's in America.
At some point, the suit is still maybe cheaper to do. That's the point for a big company. For a company that isn't prepared to invest like in the proper tech, it's like it might still be cheap to hire someone to get that.
Scalable. That's not scalable.
If for a company it is, you're providing the outsourced service.
It's weird as well.
If I'm paying $14K, I'm not wearing a suit, right? I'm just paying $14K for this person to do this digital work.
To wear the suit.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah. Look, all I can say about that is it's good to have options, right? It's good
yes.
Whoever
it might still be cheaper to hire someone. So let's face that fact as well. So anyway, give us a couple more, mate.
Okay. So the ongoing, I don't know what to call it, a love affair or what. I'm not sure what to call it, but the ongoing interaction between Irina Shamaeva and the LinkedIn engineering team. And I mean, this is like opening the curtain, and a lot of the assumptions that we'd made and a lot of the things that we'd thought for a long time around different elements of how you source on LinkedIn, and we thought we'd proven them. Well, actually, I mean, we all know that the LinkedIn algorithm is ongoing changing, right? And it gets tweaked, and all of a sudden something used to work, it no longer works. But I have to say, this is the most reveal that I've ever seen LinkedIn do, and it's really tremendous. What a win for Irina to have got this opportunity.
Yeah, and by the way, folks, if you don't know what this story is all about, basically Irina Shamaeva, who I think some of you know, particularly if you're in the sourcing world, you should certainly know her if you follow Brainfood, because I kind of promote her stuff all the time. But she's basically got into dialogue, not only with LinkedIn engineering team, but also with Google's engineering team. And because her sort of understanding as to how search engines work and how they don't work is now being read. Her blogs on this are now being read by the product teams at LinkedIn and Google. And they're saying, wow, this person actually does know it from the user perspective. And she started this like back channel dialogue where we're discovering things on these two technologies that recruiters absolutely depend on, LinkedIn and Google in some way. And we're discovering actually a lot of the search things that we assumed were true and not true, because the instructions that LinkedIn or whatnot have given are out of date. Obviously, things change all the time in engineering. It takes time to percolate that into the customer support stuff. And sometimes that stuff is still out there, so you can never pull it back. And secondly, it educates us as to where the direction of search is going. And the bottom line is, as I've described it I think my description, I think is pretty fair, which is search is kind of weird because it's stuck between two paradigms. It's stuck between the old school Boolean basic sort of the Boolean nature of search, which is you need to know the operators and precisely give instructions to the search engine to deliver you the results, and semantic search, which is trying to understand your natural language. Like, what are you actually trying to do, even if you're incompetently inputting instructions in? And because those two platforms are stuck in between the two, skilled sources are getting odd results that don't make sense because they're thinking, oh, it made sense in this paradigm, not making sense in that. So it's a fascinating place where we're at. If you're having weird experiences with LinkedIn and Google, then definitely follow Irina Shamaeva on this. And someone share Irina's link into the chat stream, by the way, on LinkedIn. She's actually got a new newsletter out there. It might be worth paying attention to as well. But that's education, and long may that conversation continue. I'm kind of conscious maybe I shouldn't overly promote it because you want that back channel to keep going, but if you can keep it between us recruiters, I think it should be okay. Keep looking at that, and it'll help your search, your recruitment team figure out how to get best out of search when you've got that sort of information coming through. Okay, one more, man, before we get into it.
I've got to I'll choose right. So like back in Neanderthal days, we had to go out and hunt for food, and we had to build like fires and catch food, and cook it and like defend ourselves in the wild. And then we were able to build houses and do other things. And then, it became really important to be able to fix your plumbing and, do stuff like that. And Gen Z does not want to do anything like that. So They are rejecting trades work. So if you need an electrician or a plumber or a joiner in 15 years' time, good luck, because people don't want to do it. Now, I would say that's like, as a species, we're getting kind of softer. I would also say, I'm going to sound like an old man here, but like, I think a lot of people think that they're going to be able to make a living being a TikToker, when of course, a very small number of people are actually going to end up making a great living being a TikToker. And I feel like the university system set up by, I've got to be honest, the Labour government, where everybody wants to go to university and study sociology or theology or something like Hung did or I did, is maybe not the best thing to do. And actually, it would be better if we glamorized proper jobs that are going to, actually help people pay the bills.
We definitely need to glamorize it. And what Adam's talking about here, by the way, is our failure to hire and develop the next generation of tradespeople. So in other words, the plumbers, the carpenters, the roofers, like anybody who's actually tried to do something or get someone out to help them with their house or whatever it is, how difficult that is. And the reason why is because the people doing the job, like that's the generation doing it. There's not that flow of talent going into the work. We've cut basically the pipeline. You want to talk pipelines? Used to be apprenticeships. You were 16-year-old, 17 years old or whatever. You'd go and do an apprenticeship with somebody. Now, obviously, everyone's piped into higher ed. Once you're in higher ed, if you're still studying 16, 17, you're still in that education, there's almost like a shift in your mindset. You go on to university, it's quite easy to do. Then you're 18 to 21, 22 before you emerge. And then at that time, you're thinking, I should do something with my degree. And you're no longer thinking about these types of essential jobs. So there's a massive shortfall and then not getting replaced. We have a serious problem. And how do we fix it? I think it's such a long-term thing to fix. You need to rebrand these jobs as being positive to do. That's going to take time.
How do you think it compares to the same type of crisis we've got in healthcare?
I think very similarly. It's a different. Interesting enough, healthcare. Actually, there's a clear gender divide. We have a kind of recruitment crisis in both of those non-academic fields, both non-white collar job types, and one is predominantly done by men, one is predominantly done by women, and we've basically cut the umbilical cord on both sides. And it's like everyone become a graduate and turn into a lawyer or an accountant or whatever, an email job effectively, which people have responded to and are doing. But then all of this essential work, which unfortunately has low status, low pay, typically hard hours, physically difficult. So that, we're sitting on our asses here, talking into a computer. That's easy work compared to being a nurse that has to move people about, and deal with customers that are irate and uncomfortable. Or you're a plumber. You have to get under people's bathrooms and stuff. Tough work.
But ironically, however, it's what you just described as the email jobs are the ones that are actually going to get made extinct. Correct. Much more so than the plumbers and the nurses.
Absolutely.
There was a guy I read the other day who does like gatherings. He's a startup founder in London. He was one of the founders of Super Awesome, and he now runs an edtech business. And he did a gathering with some other startup founders, scale-up founders, to say, like, what do you reckon about ChatGPT? And they were all saying they're putting hiring plans on hold because they think they're going to be able to do more with less as a result of its invention. And 3 of the group actually said that they expect to be able to do twice as much with half as many people in 2024. So they are considerably phasing down the number of hires they're making. This is tech companies.
Yep.
And that's just one invention. So, healthcare jobs and trades are jobs we definitely do need to glamorize.
Yeah, and not only this, but the reason why they're very resilient against automation and AI is because essentially they require very individuated solutions. Like every house is different, just like every human body is different. So you can't have a completely standardized solution for something because someone's done it in a different way. Plus, the prior attempts to fix or repair both a house and a body then influences what the next solution might be. So if I go and I'm a plumber and I investigate a house and actually some other plumber prior to me has done it this way, my solution then changes. And to that degree, same with nursing, by the way, or in medical profession, someone's done a surgery this way, or there's been this type of repair, different solution might be required, not off the shelf. Which means that human beings might still be the cheapest and best solution for that. So, we need to encourage more nurses and tradespeople. We need to do a Brainfood Live in it if that's possible. We've got to figure it out. Anyway, by the way, ChatGPT, that is the show for next week. So if you are interested in that, make sure you follow the channel now or you kind of register on the show. There's about 500 people already registered on that. It's like going to break all records. So make sure you register. I'm going to have to upgrade the tier, cost myself more money in order to get the show on. So make sure that happens. Okay, let's get the show on the road.
Crowdcast will be throttling the same way that OpenAI is throttling with the amount of users that are coming on.
Stop me from doing it. All right, let's get our crowd on. Adam, you and I are both lurkers. The best we know about TikTok is we see a few dancing videos and, nice things that this, that, and the other. We know absolutely nothing about how to recruit on it. We know absolutely nothing about how to behave as a recruiter on it. So let's bring some guests on and we'll talk it through.
Okay, I just as you're bringing them on, I do have a couple more comments. One is I think that the algorithm on TikTok is phenomenal. The personalization on there is better than anything I've seen, and I'm not on every channel, but it's certainly better than any channel that I've ever seen. It does when on the rare occasions that I am on there because somebody sent me something, I go on and look at it. The next thing that comes up is something that's absolutely relevant to me. I've got incredible. I'm incredibly impressed with the amount of creativity that's on there, and I am a massive fan of TikTok.
Yeah, I'm the same way. When I first logged on, I was like, "What the heck is this? I don't understand." And I was kind of intimidated, and I bailed out of it. And then, 6 months later, I thought, I just got to learn what this is. Everyone's talking about it. Dive in. And I just forced myself to just scroll through. But as I was scrolling through, it got better and better. And I thought, you know what? I can't get over it now. Now it's like take it with bed me. I'm sorry to say, I'm kind of addicted. But anyway, we've got some people that know what they're doing on a professional level, which is going to be awesome. This is what people sign up for. Let's introduce all of our wonderful guests here. Let's go with you first, Joel, as you first appear on screen. You're on mute here, by the way. I hope you know that. So unmute yourself. Can you quickly introduce yourself, Joel? Who are you? What it is you do?
Yeah, name's Joel Lalgee. Obviously, you guys can see I am basically lead up the sales efforts at a recruitment agency in Chicago called Hirewell. We've got a number of different types of searches that we run. We got 6 different groups that we focus on, and then I kind of work with our marketing team as well to really get our name out there on LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter. So experimenting a lot on social media.
And you're a massive LinkedIn influencer, but you've also recently hit 100,000 followers on TikTok, I understand. So that's like a big achievement, man. That's amazing.
Massive.
So well done. Like I'm on 206, and at least 3 of them is my mother. So I'm not going too far there. Okay, let's introduce Sara. Sara, who are you? Can you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey everyone, so excited to be here. My name's Sara. I'm a part of Adway, sponsoring today's episode, and we do automated social recruitment marketing on social media, where TikTok is definitely one of the ones we're keeping a close eye on.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to know how it works from the ad sort of placement point of view, because again, that's something I'm sure it's a mystery to a lot of people out there. Okay, let's go with you, Mike. Mike, great to see you, sir. Long time no see, even though I watch your TikToks all the time. Can you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Mike. I'm in Boston, and I help companies either fix, build, or I coach their sales teams. So helping people do that, I'm using TikTok as my primary distribution of content. And I've seen, I'm at like 80,000 and something followers in TikTok, and it's 15x my business year over year. So I'm happy to talk to everybody about it.
That's amazing. And Mike, I'll go to you first, because you were the first person I knew personally. So I know obviously there's tons of people on TikTok that are amazing, etc. But you're the first person that actually knew pre-TikTok, because obviously we met in Dubai, whenever it was. We've been kind of friends since then. And I just thought, okay, Mike's doing this. And then suddenly I realized actually he's definitely doing this. He knows what he's doing. So can you tell us a little bit about your history with the platform, and when did you kind of work out, okay, this is how I'm going to do it? And can you just quickly describe what it is you do that makes it a success for you?
Yeah, I'll be brief on it too. So here's the deal. Year and change ago, a friend of mine does boudoir photography, and she posted on TikTok. It went viral, got like 800,000 views or whatever. And then she goes, I got all these leads from my photography business. And I was like, bullshit. I can do this better than you can. And I was like, just really competitive. So I was like, this is it. I'm going to take 30 days. I'm going to post. So I went to TikTok, and I just Googled like how to be good on TikTok. Found like a few things. I'm like, okay, cool. So hooks are a thing that matters. Got it. Walk around, that makes it better. Okay. And then I just found that there was, in the sales community of people on TikTok, pretty much everyone's just doing funny content. And I'm like, I don't want to do funny content. I'm hilarious and everyone thinks I'm the best, but I don't want to do funny content, right? So I was like, I'm going to stick to just giving people as much value as I possibly can. And I think that the marketing funnel, I've been saying this for years, I think the marketing funnel has changed from awareness, engagement, then they convert, and then they get value. That I think it's awareness, engagement, value, and it's only when they get value that they then convert, whatever that conversion is, right? So I'm like, let me just stuff value down everybody's throat in my style, and it'll work. And for me, I've found a few things and a few tips now. My friends or anybody else I know is like, okay, I get it. I should do this. Things you could do to really make it successful. But, and I'm sure Joel, you would agree, and Sarah, you as well, but a great hook, good content that's really brief, super actionable. Like they could take that tip or whatever you're doing and do it that moment. And then some sort of call to action needed, not even needed necessarily, but just really quick tips that are digestible. And anybody, I would say, everybody I talk to about TikTok, I'm like, you don't have to do videos. 80% of my feed are just tweets screenshotted and text over some bullshit, video. And then you look and there's like tens of thousands of people following them. So that's how I got started on it. But within the first 30 days, I got a call in, make 10 grand to sell something I didn't, of course I was faking it till I made it. And since then, now it's like a very steady increase in leads. But more importantly, about 2 months in, I adjusted to having some digital products. And the digital products I've had now, people are driving to my digital products page and purchasing those items and the free ones and joining my newsletter. And so I'm funneling them off TikTok so I can have a more community like you have here.
That's amazing, man. Listen, I've actually got some of your TikToks up here, so I'm going to take a risk and like share screen. I actually don't even know how to share screen here. Okay, I'm going to share screen, and I'm going to basically show some of Mike's TikTok. I'm going to randomly pick through them, and you can get some idea what we're talking about. So does everyone see here official sales leadership things? Is that right?
Yeah, let's
official
go.
Sales leader tips, and then official sales tips is the bigger one, but yes.
Okay, so let's go with some of these. I don't know how old these are, but we'll see.
These are new, but yeah. We can't hear it though, mate.
Oh, you can't hear the audio?
No,
because the audio is going through your headphones.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Looking good though. I mean,
how do I do this? Click to close message. I think it's like this. Is that right? Oh my God, I hate doing this. Close video. That's not right. You know what? I forgot how to unshare video. Don't worry, folks. You're gonna have this like pixelated view for a little while until
audio to computer audio.
Hang on. No, I know what I'll do is I'll click off the close video. It actually sort of takes there we go. I can close that video, can I think I can. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, cool. High risk. Crowdcast, please fix the UX on this, because
I knew that wasn't going to work.
But
I blame myself.
But I will say this, Hung. So for any of you guys that don't follow me, basically on TikTok, all I do is as I'm driving back home from dropping my kids off at daycare, I just open up my phone, I hold it up here, and I'm just safely driving. And then I'll go, okay, what was I just talking to someone about? Okay, and I'll say, hey, there's 3 things everyone has to stop doing. Okay. Then I'm like, the first thing is asking people if they still have 30 minutes for the meeting. This is a waste of time. Don't do that. Okay. The second is make sure that you're asking the next steps. Okay. And the third is stop telling people it's great chatting with you. Just say, I'm glad we're getting a chance to connect. And that's the video. So it takes me about 30 seconds to do the video. And
you're going straight to a correctional facility if you try and do that in the UK.
I'm definitely watching for the coppers, and I know that if I ever get into an accident, I'm just going to snap my phone in half because the insurance company will assume I'm on TikTok. But it takes me that much time, so I usually get like 4 or 5 videos on my way home, and then on the couch while I'm watching TV, I just go through, add a couple captions, add some hashtags, and that's really it. And what I just pulled this year, like all the analytics. So last year I did 16 million views, and I got 600 customers, and I spent something like $5,000 or $6,000 total boosting posts because I was testing that out, and I saw a huge increase in revenue and like followers and everything by boosting posts. Like $1,000 would get me like 100,000 views. And then I looked at it in the end, and it was like my cost per mil was basically 4 cents. And my cost per customer was 4 minutes. So it's like, it was an hour and 10 minutes a week of work, which was just in between time that I was just driving. And then in the end, I ended up getting all these customers. But more importantly, and to the point of this podcast, I've recruited like a half a dozen people from it. Because I get clients who say, Mike, can you build my sales team? Absolutely. I post on TikTok, here's my job. And then I get awesome candidates who are also dying to work with.
Hold that topic. We're going to
now we're getting into the details.
Direct recruiting a bit later, but I think some of those things that you shared there have been amazing, man. I mean, when you're talking about the ROI, it's ridiculous because when a lot of this stuff that the content production is the stuff you're doing in between times. So I think a lot of people think video is like you got to be set up in studio. And Per, by the way,
everyone is over engineering always.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No. It's authentic.
The phone is there. That's what people want to get. Shoot the video, get it up there and get it out there. And you can do edits and you can do all the like studio production on the device itself and in-app. So you're not even coming off the app, are you? You're just going straight through. So that is one thing I think most people would probably want to try and get out of this is that anybody with a smart device can do this. And actually
if I could add to that though, if you're in Zoom calls, there's a tool called CapCut, and CapCut and TikTok, I think, are like either like owned or shared or they're somehow connected. So CapCut's free, and you can just take your Zoom call, download it, upload it to CapCut, and it's like super easy to add any effects or whatever if you want. I don't do that often, but that's what I'll be doing this year. But I just make sure that instead of editing the video, I just if I mess up in that 2 seconds, I just like delete, do it again. And so there's no editing. I mean, the whole process of making a video takes me 4 minutes probably.
Right.
Mike,
go on, Adam.
Mike, do you post the content on YouTube as well or just on TikTok?
So what's great about technology now is I post on TikTok, and there's a website called repurpose.io. I think it's like $10 a month. So I post on TikTok. It automatically downloads it, removes the watermark, puts it in my Google Drive, posts it to YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Instagram, and that's it. And then I have a virtual assistant who downloads who transcribes it, and then she posts that on LinkedIn. So I post the one piece of content on TikTok, and then it goes to all the different platforms.
One-man marketing machine. Please share the link to that thing into the chat stream, Mike. Whatever that is, that sounds amazing because basically you can multi-post on very low effort. That seems like a perfect thing. Sarah, I'm going to come to you in a sec, but I'm going to go to Joel because I think in terms of your creation style, different from Mike, but in some way similar. It's like rapid fire, 2-camera type of work. So can you tell us a little bit about when was the moment that you kind of grokked TikTok, Joel? I mean, can you remember that point?
Yeah, I've been on TikTok since 2019, right? And so if you can't actually see any of those videos because a lot of it was just experimentation. So basically, I heard from like, which is
brand killing videos, Joel. Is that what you're saying?
They were like memes. It's basically just testing out like how does the actual algorithm work? Because back in 2019, it was a lot of like kids dancing, right? And what we saw was as soon as like mainstream Instagrammers and personal coaches and these like kind of solopreneurs, as soon as they figured out that it could actually be used to drive sales, you see an exodus onto TikTok. I was on that before that, and I was just figuring out like, how does this platform work? And to Mike's point, it's always, you got 3 seconds, right, to just capture people's attention. So you've got to get really good with copy, like short, quick messages, or you've got to get really quick with just a quick verbal hook. And so a lot of the same, same on LinkedIn, right? It's the same thing. You've got that first sentence to capture someone's attention. Same on Twitter. It's a lot of the same kind of concepts. But I think, for me, it was about 2 months ago where I took a break off TikTok because LinkedIn was really hotting up. I kind of just said, hey, I don't have the bandwidth to create on TikTok. And so I took Mike's approach about 2 months ago, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna create 8 videos a day because I just know how to create videos. I know how to do them really quickly, and it's just value. And I started 3 different series. I did a LinkedIn news series where I would just look at LinkedIn articles and just talk about them from a recruiting perspective. Then I did a like things to never say to recruiters. So it hit the job seekers. And then I did like recruiting 101 because I figured, okay, the demographic might be younger. Maybe it's people who are looking for like information. So I started that way. And then occasionally I would hit on a trend. But really, like, what grew the following really quickly was as soon as I went viral with one trend, I learned this early on TikTok. Once you go viral on a platform, and I guess the same with LinkedIn, you got to double down on it if you want to grow the following. What I'm trying to figure out from this point is how do I now start to leverage more of that value back in there? So it's kind of like to Mike's point, like if I was to approach it again from anyone who's out there, you don't want 100,000 followers. You don't need 100,000 followers. You probably need 5,000 to 10,000 quality people who are buyers or people that you're going to recruit. Same on LinkedIn, same on Twitter. It's all the same. You don't need as much as you think. I think for me, like in terms of building up the audience, like I'm just fascinated by like, how can you capture like mass attention? Same on LinkedIn. And so I've unfortunately gone Mike's, the way that Mike said, like the humor perspective, that's what I've done. But I've also done that on LinkedIn. And then I've got I do a podcast, for example. So it's like trying to just hit things on different angles. But I think if I was going to approach it now to take away the pressure, like from a recruiting perspective, I would focus on just like short, highly valuable, hitting your target audience, whether it's tech, healthcare, construction, and just speaking to those candidates. And because again, you don't want to be a clout chaser, which is kind of what I've become over the last 2 months. And we've made some hires out of it, but it hasn't been. It's very hard to control on TikTok. Like it's a hard network to like kind of figure out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think. I mean, firstly, I don't think there's anything wrong with necessarily chasing clout to a degree because you have to get there somewhere. To get some sort of audience gives you a bit of momentum. It means that your message can travel a little bit further than it might do otherwise. I'm sure everyone talks about sort of TikTok's algorithm, but I think the principles are broadly the same compared to most things, which is you post something, it will distribute that to a sample of people. If those people are all over it and they think it's amazing, then it boosts it to another group of people and they keep boosting in that way. Very similar to going viral on any social media platform. That's how I think LinkedIn works. Used to be how Facebook worked when people were still doing Facebook. And I don't know how Twitter works these days in the Musk era. I don't think it does work. But basically, in terms of how to
verified.
How to viralize something, right? So basically, it's about engagement. It's about sort of whether the early sample gets into it. And what's interesting about TikTok is it's not always obvious that you can corral people to get into your video. It's got to almost be naturally good, or you're relying on that early early 3 seconds, as you mentioned, to really make the most impact. Sarah, we'll go to you in a sec, but Joel, I want you to try and go to the website and pull up some videos on TikTok. It might be on desktop. I want to see some of the, I think people might be interested to see a little bit about the stuff you do. Do it on your computer, and hopefully we'll get an audio there as well.
As he does that, something I'll just mention is I think a lot of people have been asking me, hey, has TikTok changed in the last couple of months? And I'm sure, Joel, you're seeing this too. And the answer is absolutely yes. Like, well, the one thing I'll say to your point, Joel, about the funny bit, it's you want to be about 80% value and about 20% funny. Because if you're not funny at all, you're no longer entertaining, and everybody's kind of sick of just seeing like dad tell you bullshit, you know? And then at the same time, TikTok is trying to push longer form content because, as we all know, like everybody's just competing for attention. So if they can get you in here for more attention, better. So they're going to push longer form 5-minute videos. So you can do that as well.
Well, and it goes back to that searchability point. Like I've seen a big change in like what they do is like if you post a video and you see it on your end, like after you posted a video, it will pull out like a keyword. And it's weird how they assign it because like I'll do some videos I might do a video on remote work, which is a topic I'm really, really passionate about. And it will pull out like data entry, work from home jobs. And I sometimes I don't even know where they're getting the keywords from, but it's because people are then searching like work from home jobs. So that is really starting to impact the algorithm. And so long way how that plays out is if you don't have relevant content for the search terms that people are having, it's going to work like SEO where it's just going to invalidate your videos. So it's like you have to be, that's where the value comes in. Because if someone's searching how to do a resume and then every single one of your videos on how to do a resume is just a joke, then you're going to lose the SEO power. But that's it kind of like, I think we're a little bit longer. We're still not like
that'll be a little bit longer for sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's not go too deep into this, folks. There's questions coming into the crowd on chat stream. Why don't you use the ask a question feature at the bottom of the screen? We're going to go there at the end in order to make sure all of the questions are centralized. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, you want to ask a question, just put it in comments. One of our guys are going to pick that up and go. Sarah, sorry to keep you waiting on this. But I wanted to get your view on this because you're coming from a very unique perspective. I mean, I don't actually know whether you're created on TikTok. I know you do a ton of stuff on Instagram as a personal sort of.
As the individual.
As an individual. And by the way, I'm jealous of your life. The
DJ wife life,
the DJ wife life, indeed. But from a business perspective, obviously a company like Adway, it will have an interest and an awareness. Okay, this is an app that everyone's looking at. The daily actives are all over it. How can we actually help companies put adverts in there? Honest, quick question. Are there any companies running ad campaigns, recruitment ad campaigns on TikTok?
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's why I think this conversation is so interesting because you guys come from the organic perspective, right? So you actually upload stuff. I come from the dark post industry where we actually work with the sponsored campaigns on TikTok, basically. And to your point, Hang, since we're doing automated social recruitment marketing campaigns, like hundreds and thousands and millions of them on all the social media platforms, this is yet one of the platforms that we've been evaluating for years in order to actually see ROI for our customers here. So we are adding machine learning to this. So we're not manually doing any ads. We're not manually sponsoring anything. We have a software who knows exactly in what formats, concept, length, content strength that we should add, our campaigns onto TikTok. But I have done some nice checks in our own system in terms of how the campaigns are performing. And of course, there's, we have to take things into consideration always. So TikTok is not the single best solution. I would always recommend a media mix because again, we're avatars on the internet, so we're everywhere. So it's not just about LinkedIn. It's not just about Facebook. It's not just about, so TikTok is one of them. You have to have, it's definitely worth keeping a close eye on it because as of you guys, Joel and Mike were saying, we are seeing a super high ROI in impressions and the efficiency of TikTok when it comes to clicks. So in comparison, I actually did a check here. TikTok is like 75% more cost efficient when it comes to clicks and 60% cheaper. So you can choose the target audience here in a different way. And more specifically, you can say that this shows that the age between 18 and 24 and 25 to 34 are both the most active. So it is really interesting to look in, in ways of impression are getting out here. But again, then we have to discuss the parts with the banning of the TikTok and the other different platforms coming. So there's challengers to TikTok that everyone has to keep an eye on as well. That's really coming up. But yeah,
let's talk firstly on that demographic slice. You're saying that because I'm not sure if anybody out there like specifically goes with sort of age stratified targeting. I'm sure they do for certain types of roles and what have you. But you're saying the two demographics, 18-25, which we might predict as being the most sort of active, and then followed by the cohort above that, which is what again, 26 to 35, I guess.
Yeah, so nearly half of the adults between 18 and 29 have a TikTok account, while only 30% are on LinkedIn. So that's really interesting in that comparison. And 60% of the TikTok users are Gen Zs, and 40 actually are millennials. So that's interesting as well. And when it comes to the ads, TikTok reached like 19% of the internet users who are above 18, and that figure translates into 885 million users. So in terms of reach, again, this is really, really impactful.
Yeah. I can totally imagine. Let's say, I know everyone watching this is generally more of a LinkedIn, white collar knowledge worker recruiter, generally speaking. But you know what? So much recruitment is actually like we were talking about earlier, Adam. Nurses, trade people, drivers, logistics folks, people that aren't sitting in front of computers. They're much more likely to be on TikTok than they are 100%. On LinkedIn.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a good question actually. Who has LinkedIn on their mobile device? I guarantee you, only recruiters have this, right? Only recruiters and salespeople have this. Normal human beings do not have LinkedIn downloaded on the mobile. We are aberrant human beings in this regard. A normal human being will be on using the phone for entertainment purposes. That is Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, stuff that communication, entertainment type stuff. So if you want to attract those folks, then actually you need to think about sort of tooling and technology.
And I mean, to the point. So our idea is, of course, to build, a candidate attraction journey, like build this Hansel and Greta story experience on all the social media platforms. So the ones that actually do have LinkedIn, all of them have other channels basically. So, and again, LinkedIn and sponsoring content on LinkedIn is a bit, I wouldn't say the most efficient on all platforms. So again, the ones that have LinkedIn definitely has other channels. So again, the media mix it comes down to the media mix.
Can you tell me anything about the sort of ad content itself that seems to be effective, Sarah? Because you could do just a screenshot, right? As Mike was saying, you just put a screenshot, put some music in it, and that's like kind of an easy bit of content. Or is the video better? Like get your hiring manager to do a video and stick it up there, or do you get the person out of there, do something else? Like, do you have a sense as to what works on recruiting purposes?
Sense is really good because again, we do motion ads, and we can generate like from your corporate ID, all your branding materials. That that way we generate materials, basically content that works on the platform. But basically, the platform is built on authenticity. So if you don't over-engineer anything and make sure you can actually just use a ring light, use a phone, record in 4K, and just get your people in front of that camera, that's the best possible way in a 30-second situation, to make an appealing ad. So definitely the authenticity.
Open question to everybody. One of the things I've seen on TikTok that was maybe pioneered on there actually, which has turned into one of the content types that was super, super popular, was all of these day in a life of type videos. So you had people of all kinds of walks of life saying, hey, I'm going to give you a day in a life. And it's them brushing their teeth, walking out into the office. And there's a little bit of a flavor as what that is. And I looked at that and thought, wow, straight away, that's some employer branding stuff. Like, is any company actually encouraging their staff to do this? Or, have we got any evidence that this is working for companies that have thought about, I want our employees to talk about their jobs in this way? Any insight on this, any experience, any thoughts? I'll open it up to everyone here.
So I'll jump in to say that I will say I've seen so many companies try to post on TikTok and it doesn't work. Because the second that you see a company's name, you're like, this is not real. You're faking this content for me. So it has marketing. To be look. There are people that I'm following who I'm like, I love their content, and then I check every week or two. I'm like, how many 1,000 followers? They've been doing this for like a year. What the hell's going on? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think that we need to think differently about employer branding. the people that I'm getting, the reason I'm able to pull people off TikTok from a recruiting standpoint isn't because I'm like, the employer that you're going to work for has this incredible brand and this awesome environment, and we treat employees great. It's that I talk about, like, one of my viral videos was how I do one-on-ones and how and what I think you should do with employees who aren't the top performers. And they're like, yes, like that is a direct thing. I want to work for you. You get it. So I think if you think about employer branding as like the more tactical things about like management and like your day-to-day and not like the company, you'll see a bigger return, or at least I have so far.
Very interesting. Sara, thanks for sharing some of these case studies. By the way, folks, have a look at sort of what Sarah's shared in the chat stream there. Amazing, some really interesting case studies. Maybe we should be bringing some of these folks on. Modiara, thank you so much for commenting on there. I had no idea you've been using this. I'd bring you on otherwise. We need to bring you back, obviously, for another show. Listen, we always do this, a quick mini break. We always do this at every single sort of Brainfood Live on air. The reason why is because we do need to come off air. We can't stay on here forever. We're going to have to get off in about 10-15 minutes or so. It would be a terrible shame if the people watching this were unable to have a conversation and continue this conversation onwards. So why don't we take a moment, take your LinkedIn URL or your TikTok URL if you prefer, and stick it into the chat stream on Crowdcast. And if you're watching this on LinkedIn, stick your LinkedIn URL into the comment thread on LinkedIn, and then connect with everyone who's also done the same. There's about 300 people watching this. So if 10% of people did that, you're going to walk away with like 30, 40 different sort of new connections that are interested in this topic, typically are working in recruiting and are interested in EB and interested in TikTok. No reason why you can't do that and expand your network as well. We know, by the way, the 2023 is not going to be an easy year for anybody, whether you're in recruitment marketing, recruitment technology, or recruiting sort of full stop. The stronger the network you have, the more resilient and robust your situation is going to be. That's going to be, I'm prepared to say that's a flat rule. So go ahead, share your LinkedIn URL and just connect with everyone who's there. Everyone who's done this has basically tacit agreed, has consented to your LinkedIn invite. Don't even write a message, just call connect. All right, let's get on with
one quick thing real quick too. I did have a case study, and you guys can look this up. If you look up James Hornick and Joel Lalgee, I had a viral, one of my first viral videos. I think it got like 2 million views.
That's crazy.
I had to turn off the Hirewell link because we had too many people applying through the website. And obviously it's the same with like posting a job, right? Like you post a job, you get people that apply to it, and a small amount of those people are able to help. But if I can pull up my LinkedIn stats for anybody to see, my views on LinkedIn have gone up. My views on my link tree have gone up. So it's definitely a viable way to reach people. It's just trying to know how to like reach the right people with it, which I think is a challenge. But check out Blind Recruiting too. Blind Recruiting has done a really great job. They've got like they found a lot of like tech influencers. And I don't know if you guys know Blind, but it's like that tech community where you can share stories and you have to have a verified email address from a tech company. They do a lot of influencer marketing on there with tech influencers. And I think they're going to be a big competitor to LinkedIn as time goes by, because they're driving so much traffic with that. And I think that's something that employers, to Mike's point, they've got to look at, like, how can we use like names and people who are already established on the platform.
This year, my first prediction of 2023 was that influencer marketing was going to come to recruiting, and people were saying, "Yeah, Hung, shit, whatever." But
here's the influencer.
No, but here's my theory. Is that I think that people with an audience of the type of individuals you want to recruit, I think they would be tapped up to say, you know what, I want you on screen talking to my hiring manager about what the job requirement is. And then, like, for instance, Mike, a lot of salespeople follow you because you do sales tips, etc. If he's got 40,000, 80,000 salespeople following him, he's an influencer in sales. I'm recruiting a sales team. I would want Mike to be in front of me on camera talking about my sales team and why it's going to be amazing, because all of the people follow Mike are going to watch that video. And that's better than any advert I'm going to sell. So that's what I mean about influencer marketing coming to recruiting. Go on, Adam.
Can I, just add something in the sort of that is bolted onto that? I think that one of the things that employers should be doing, and I've said this for at least 10 years now, is making their hiring managers famous.
Yeah.
Is making their hiring managers the influencers.
Exactly.
So that if I'm working in procurement, for example, and I'm seeing on whatever channel it might be, Sara Brown, who's like head of procurement at that organization, and she's regularly posting stuff about procurement tips, how to be better at your career in procurement, what's the hot topics and things that people need to know about. And then when Sarah's recruiter contacts me and says, hey, do you want to work with Sara? And I go, damn right, I want to work with Sara.
Yeah. 100%.
Why aren't we doing this? I've been saying this for a long, long time. Why is
I think the challenge with it is like from a hiring manager's point of view, I think that number one, they're focused on doing the job, and it's trying to get a hiring manager to do a 30-second video on like describing the job is hard enough. And I think it takes a certain person, because I think on social media, this is a part which I don't think gets talked about a lot. I honestly don't think everybody can do social media. I think everyone can like jump on there and do a video, but I think to a certain point, you've got to kind of be able to create a persona, and you've got to be really consistent. Okay. It's just the idea of like, I am never going to have a six pack because I don't have the discipline to hit the gym every day and eat healthily in that way. Could I do it? Yes, but it's just I'm not wired that way. And I think with social media, this is the part which is a challenge. Like number one, you got to want to put yourself out there. You've got to be ready for people to just come on and like hate on you. And number three, it's like, you've got to be really consistent and like kind of, you almost have to build a persona at the end of the day. You have to have like this online.
I agree with this. I agree with this. One important thing though is I think as a community, we need to be putting pressure on these people, because what you started by saying there was they're too busy doing their job to post a video. Well, hiring is their job if they're a manager.
Yeah.
So, and the effectiveness of their team is based on the number of good people they've got in their team. That's what they're measured on. So we need to be amplifying this as a concept to them. That they have to download
talking numbers to them, and they'll understand. Like hit rate.
Yeah,
anything.
But you got to think like as a recruiter, we all know like the hardest thing to do is to get a hiring manager down and talk about the job and like do debriefs, and we struggle with that. So that's I'm agreeing with you 100%. I'm just saying that like we struggle to get people to do like debriefs and job intakes. It's already a challenge to then say, well, what do you want to put yourself online? What if they go, you know what, like I don't feel comfortable with it? Then what do you do? I guess that's the challenge with it.
I think do an avatar.
Yeah, we could do it with the digital avatar. Get the guy in that gimp suit like I was talking about earlier. All right, you don't want to be you. You can be the digital.
Do the script, do the avatar. Just
Go ahead, get him in that suit. No, but Adam, I think you're right, and Joel, I think you're both right. It's hard, and Sam has also mentioned in the chat there as well. Some people just don't inherently want to do it. I get that. But if you're a hiring manager, I think it's a component of the job. And if you're you're a recruiter for the hiring manager, I wonder whether you could even like encourage it by varying your supply terms in some way to say, look, we know it works a lot better if you're on camera for 30 seconds. We can deliver the candidates at this sort of time frame if you can give us this 30 seconds, or it's going to take 2 extra weeks. And then the guy's going to say, yeah, give me the camera. So, okay, listen, we're running out of time. We have to go to the questions because we've got 8 of them here. I'm going to just blast through them. Last call for questions, folks. If you have any, please ask them now. Otherwise, forever hold your peace. We've got like, it's on a vote order. So, okay, a bit of democracy. Fantastic. We've got a Megan Newbury, and Megan saying, interested to hear if you're actually referring to sourcing, finding candidates on TikTok, or is this more like employer branding or building awareness? In other words, sourcing candidates. Is that possible? Yes, no on TikTok?
Yeah.
100% yes.
Yeah.
How do you source candidates?
I'm gonna say no on this. I think it works like a job application where you put the job out and it's a funnel.
Sure, fair enough.
You're not going in there and searching Boolean on people because then you're
you're not.
you're
not Boolean. No, sure.
Okay, so it's more attraction
you could in a thread of comments, you can absolutely say, "Hey Sarah, you're absolutely brilliant. Can I talk to you about a job?"
I mean,
yeah,
yes.
you could do that.
Yeah.
You could get, but then that's like you could do that on Reddit. You could do that on Twitter. You can do that anywhere. It's just you can source on there, but the hard thing is always profiles. Like, how do you?
Oh yeah, when they're avatars, it is hard.
Okay, yeah, because it's profile light. Folks, we're gonna have to go quickly on this. Tyler Russ is saying, if your company is not pro TikTok, how have you persuaded your leadership to buy into your presence on TikTok? Have you even done that? Joe, let's go to you on this because you are actually working for a company, but it seems that you've just gone ahead and done this. Like, did you have a conversation upstairs, or how did this happen?
I work for a company. I mean, Hirewell. If you guys follow anyone from Hirewell, all of us produce content as a team. So we've got content meetings. So they were 100% on board with it. I've got support from leadership. You got to get the buy-in from leadership always, and I've got buy-in from leadership.
What was the technique to persuade them if they were hesitant, Joel? Have you got any tips there?
I mean, you try and get results on it and show them that it works.
Hey, show them this video, Tyler. Show them this video. Show them the recording of this crowdcast, and you'll be blown away.
Show them the money.
Like immediately signing up. Okay, we've got Elena. Elena say, okay, how to make one's EB content on TikTok more visible. Tools to check best hashtags on TikTok. So I think Elena's talking about off-platform tools. Is there like an ecosystem of stuff that you can use to search like stuff on TikTok, or is it pretty closed off?
Well, when you
can definitely search. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
You can search hashtags, and honestly, if you Google like TikTok search, there's about 100,000 things to see like who's doing well and what they're doing well. Buzzlytics is one where you can see like all-time stats in somebody and see their top videos. So if you want to get into TikTok and you're like, I'll just go find someone who's like, I'll just go to TikTok and search recruiter, see the top recruiter, go to Buzzlytics, you'll see all their top videos, all their top hashtags, all their top sounds.
Can you share the link to Buzzlytics in the chat stream there, Mike? That's really, really useful. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. We've got Gemma. Gemma saying, okay, how do you hire from your TikToks? Do you message people through the platform, or do they reach out to you having seen your TikToks and made them apply? I guess, I mean, there's a couple of people on the screen here. Go ahead and answer that. How do you hire from TikToks?
Get a link tree, put your LinkedIn on there, and then on your bio say, if you want more about my jobs, connect with me on LinkedIn. That's what I do.
Cool. So it's redirect. Yeah. EB and redirect. Sarah, go ahead. You're going to say something?
I'd say automated campaigns, basically. So it's a way to combine the original, the organic, and the sponsored way.
Yeah, absolutely. So it seems that direct interaction is probably not the most efficient way, even though you can imagine it can be done.
No, it's a long term. The organic part, long term, 100% should be just to show, utilize the platform. But I'd say get started easily when working data driven, not put your hands in there. Let the data speak to you.
Yeah, fantastic, folks. We are running totally out of time, so we don't have time to go through everything. We are out of time.
Out of questions.
We've got loads of questions coming in, but that is it. Listen, folks, I hope you've enjoyed the show. We're going to keep talking about sort of different ways to recruit in different platforms. I just want to take a moment to thank sort of our amazing panelists for coming on and sharing their know-how. If you're not following them on TikTok, it might be actually a good idea to do that because it'll tell you a little bit about how that all works, and we'll pick it up from there. So, and by the way, folks, we also know about the politics of it. We also know that potentially things could immediately shift off. So that's something to keep aware of. But I'm assuming if things do move on to something like YouTube Shorts or back into Instagram, maybe it revives it. Also, we've seen Twitter think about, okay, let's do video there. So I think a lot of the ideologies or a lot of the techniques are probably going to be applicable to basically mobile short video. That's basically what we're talking about.
It is motion ads. Motion ads is everything. Yeah.
It's mobile short video. People are going to consume this on the phone and they're going to see it on the phone. So, you're going to build it on the phone. They're going to see it on the phone. That's the mentality we have to have. And I think recruiters are generally still locked into desktop. And actually, that's not the majority of the people on the planet. Okay. Thank you so much to our guests. Let's say goodbye to Joel Lalgee. Joel, great to see you, man. We'll catch up soon. Thank you, Mike Manzi, for joining us. Great to see you. We'll catch up soon, my friend. And Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. Also, great to see you, on the show. We'll get you back, no doubt.
Have a great day. Bye.
Cool. That was excellent, wasn't it? How interesting. How interesting was that?
There's just an evolution, isn't it? I mean, like, you got two slightly older chaps like you and me who, in 10 years, are we going to know anything about like what is the latest channel? You probably will. I might. But that's because we're both kind of interested in this stuff. But like, are most people going to? Don't know. Like, it's the evolution. I mean, TikTok is not going to be the hot new thing in 10 years. It will not. There's very few of these channels are going to be enduring.
Well, none of them are. You look at very realistically, if we would sort of teleported back 3 years ago and said no one would be Facebook would be totally irrelevant, we'd be saying, "What the heck are you talking about?" It's like,
well, it's not. I mean, it's not irrelevant for people of our age. For people of our age, it's still the number one channel, but it's going to die out with us.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I think it's generational as well, because every generation doesn't want to follow the generation above. As soon as your parents are on it, the last thing you want to do. I think what killed Facebook is not so much the kind of rulings on the ads and the changes of the algorithms and so on, but also the kind of intrusion of the parents into the platform where the kids were, drove the kids away. It's like going to the club and your dad's there. Like, mate, you're gone. You know what I mean? It's like you're not hanging around there.
However, I do wonder about the nostalgia element of it, right? So, I mean, the hot trend right now for music and clothes and stuff like the fashion and stuff like that is like 2000s. It's like early 2000s. All of that is almost exactly 25 years like later. Like whatever's happening right now in 2023, by 2048, it's all going to be in fashion again. And it's all cyclical like that. I wonder if that happens with social networks. We don't know yet.
I don't think so. I haven't seen a single social network revive, having died. I think Twitter might be the only one that's kind of bounced up and down a little bit. Most of them have gone like this. They've peaked and then they've just either slowly slid away and then crashed, or they've just gone. I don't know a single thing that's actually been able to bounce back and reinvent, because the original people that loved it, your reinvention they're going to hate. So you're going to have to reacquire a whole new bunch of people, and you're starting from zero.
In fact, Joel's just said that. MySpace. I mean, honestly, MySpace was brilliant. I'm gobsmacked that I was gobsmacked at the time that it just died a death, and then that it has never reemerged.
Facebook killed it simply by being more standard. I mean, if you remember MySpace, it was interesting, but because every single page,
it was edgy though.
It was edgy. It was interesting. Every single page was different, but that was just a cascade of sensations to your brain. You have to work out the information architecture on every new profile. Whereas what Facebook did really smart was have a standard profile. Obviously, the information changed because the person was different. And once everyone's friends are on there, boom, it was all done. So yeah, we'll wait and see whether the next thing is. But right now it is TikTok. I think there's Be Real as well happening in the US, which is a little bit more authenticity. I think real time might happen. I think gaming might take over as well at some point. So there's tons of stuff that's happening. But I think that the message is, I think for people who might still be watching, is that you've just got to embrace this kind of the technologies a little bit, understand where the communications are. And if you're recruiting, this is a potential advantage for you. And not to say you need to be on any of these platforms, but you know what? Once upon a time, people said this of the internet. I'm old enough to remember how internet was moved from fad to essential. And really, it's one of those where the advantage was there for the people who were able to embrace it. Anyway, that's it. So Chat GPT, talk about the next new thing that's happening next week, folks. So make sure you sign up follow the channel and register for that. We'll have another amazing show for you, and we'll pick it up from there.
The show that I was actually prepped for today.
Mate, what's the prep for? I know you've been looking at it.
Yeah, I did a bit of like a bit more research into like, what are all these things people are talking about its use cases for? And some of them I'm just going, that's absolute nonsense. It's not a good use for that. In fact, not only is it not a good use for that, it can't even do that. And then that one is great, but it's no better than Google.
Save your skepticism for next week.
I'm not. I'm a skeptic about some of the nonsense I'm seeing, what people are talking about, but I'm not a skeptic of the actual facility itself.
What's happening next week as well? We've got a lot of tech people in that are going to help talk about how they've integrated ChatGPT into their systems. So it's been a roadmap shifter for a lot of companies. So we should have I think Bill Fisher, Avonk is coming in. I think I might even get Nikos from Workable. There could be some other sort of younger startup founders that are coming on as well. So the way I see it is, we're going to have a bunch of recruiters who are going to talk about their application now, and then a bunch of tech people say, okay, we've done this, and then we'll see how that goes.
Are we going to talk about anything to do with like the other OpenAI services like DALL-E and Jukebox and Codex and stuff, or is it purely ChatGPT?
There's no need to isolate it, but I think it's one of those topics big enough to it'll bleed enough time for us. I mean, we're already whatever, so it's well late. All right, listen, I've got to go,
Cheers.
man. Yeah,
bye.
So I'll see you later, Adam.
Bye.
All right, folks, that's it. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks for watching.